And
I didn't mean to go live, but all right.
Hold, let me show you that when that track shooter did it. And he was broke yesterday. He went in
Already turned on them.
all kind of pushes.
Mine are coming.
He pulled it out there. They all got the
Yep.
shooter.
Look, but he said it's right at an hour and 20, hour 15. And maybe we can't get into this RV spot till like.
I'm gonna look at that guy's name.
Yes,
I'm gonna just drive 10 minutes versus an hour and 20 minutes.
He's not gonna know what to do all that time.
He said, I gotta be there at 7, but I don't have to get up till 17. And he'll roll out of bed and stumble in there and,
Yeah, that'll be nice.
you know. Hey, you didn't happen to come test, did you?
Yeah, they came up here. I met them up here Monday.
So did you, and it didn't work for you either?
No, it didn't. I called them and then they came about an hour later.
Any idea what?
Blow fuse, but.
Or there, and their stuff?
And
Something we can fix in the future, or?
you can, I mean, but it's honestly, it's their fault because nobody's been in it since they installed it. And he said the wire nut came off and the wire aren't on the cabinet.
So that ain't us.
No,
Well,
they charge us for a service call naturally, but.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Labor's where they retire, I reckon.
Michael Kane,
That's it. And he played over, the old men.
The Kingsman,
No.
and he plays Alfred in Batman. He was in Miss Congeniality with Sandra Bullock. He was the guy in that one.
What's that movie where they do the con artist stuff? Now You See Me?
Yep. Yes, that's it. He's in that one. Yep. That's a good movie.
I like the one where they robbed the bank.
Yeah, that's it. Now You See Me. That's what Brandon said. He's in both of them.
That was another funny.
You got him well? You nursed him back to health? Good nurse. Huh? No, cut you no slack?
she's so scared, she don't catch it, she won't get around.
No, that's right. You just hand him his food with a 10-foot
You
pole?
know if that's new, that was sitting here, and I don't know if it fell out some of this stuff, or somebody put it there.
What is it?
Lisa Meacham, health issues, gallbladder issues. I know that name.
I don't know.
Why do I know
I
that?
think that was,
Is it
I
old?
feel like that's an old one.
Yeah.
I
What is the neighbor of Miss Margie's? It starts with an L, Laurel or Lorraine or
Yeah. Oh,
she's come before.
Londa, but.
Londa, that's it. Londa, that's it. That's the one.
Melissa is in the hospital. And Rick was all mixed up, but anyway, has kidney failure.
Oh, ooh,
And Rick texted me this big long thing and said they were gonna keep her tonight. And then tomorrow they would take her on over to Mayo. And she talked to Melissa and she said, you won't be coming back after you go there. She's talking about the nursing home. And I said, something ain't right with this text. And I called Rick. And I said, Rick, what's wrong with Melissa? She couldn't remember. She had to find her book. She writes down everything. And I tells her what she can't remember. She said, it's something that starts with a K. I said, okay. I couldn't think of it. She finally found it. She said, kidney failure. And she said,
and how does Melissa process all that? Is she like, and being in a foreign hospital, is that
Melissa don't.
maybe all right? She's all right?
She,
Huh.
she don't do. But I said, Ruth, they're probably telling you that they're gonna take her to another hospital somewhere. Kidney failure, you don't fool around with.
No, that's right.
You don't take them to a nursing home.
No,
You go to another hospital.
you go to a specialist. Hey, lady, way to make the paper.
I'm sorry?
You made the paper.
I did?
You did.
Yes.
You didn't know you was in the paper?
Your beach house.
Your house, and you going to speak at the
Yes.
meeting about, hey, you got 2 months till the engineer will even get to you.
actually, I have found one more. And he actually does concrete houses. And he's looking for a lot to put, one of those that everybody can go and look at, a
Like a-
sample.
Uh-huh.
I mean, hey, who knows?
Maybe the Lord opened that right door. Good deal.
Thank you.
I probably can't move in.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
I'm better, thank you.
Great.
Still not 100%, maybe 95.
I got you.
That's it.
Oh, you got your.
Can you
Some
do
is
stairs?
better than
That's
none.
exactly right.
Can you do stairs? Can y'all do stairs? Is that part of the issue of living down there?
No,
No.
I will tell you, and it started, we lived there since 74, okay?
Mhm.
We raised our kids there. He fished, and then they passed that law in 90.
The net laws and all that.
Yeah, for, about the fishing. And so then he went down south, and then he went Mississippi and Louisiana.
Yeah.
Yeah. Him and some more fishing buddies. That don't work, cause he's away from home. But circumstances now, need a routine.
Mhm.
And
Thank you
so.
Watch your back. You got
Good.
handsome young men coming
Good
up.
morning. Did y'all-
Hi, Jack.
I was gonna go with it. I was like, yes, she's got to be born in
Who'd y'all play?
Brantford.
They can be good sometimes.
Yeah, they were like dunking and stuff. It was bad.
Mhm.
I will tell you, in 93,
Like Monroe.
there was a bunch of us used to frequent the commissioners meeting. I used to go to the cities
Mm-hmm.
too. Actually, in the 90s, I actually was going to run for city council,
Mm-hmm.
and they said, "Oh no, you vote at the beach, so you don't live uptown." Alan Hart wrote a letter saying that she lives next door to me. They didn't care. They said, "Cares to court." I'm not carrying in the court, but let me run. They were afraid because I wasn't affiliated with anybody in particular. They had no
Power.
way of knowing how I would vote on anything. And I usually speak my mind. I said good morning to the boys, so good evening. Yeah, I just feel so bad for a lot of people down there.
What's that?
But I don't understand why they're charging $1,000 for permits when their stuff was tore up by the storm. That is money they would never have expected to get, and I forgot to mention that. But Wednesday, I may not be.
Well, in the paper, what they were said is something about they were gonna,
Oh, extend it 1 month.
and then they said, and then by, I
I
don't know,
have
something
to go
about a case by
back.
case basis or something like
Yeah,
that.
month to month. If I don't get somebody now, because before I get a permit, I have to have a structural engineer look at those piles.
Mhm.
Well, he's calling them columns, but to me, round is columns. But they're cement. They have rebar like you would believe.
Billy Walsh can go do that for you. He's a certified engineer.
No.
Billy Walsh will go there and say, yeah, I believe that'll hold. Let's build. Let's go.
I've already asked him. And he sent me with two engineers that are the ones that I spoke about. In March and maybe the end of April. But, yeah. So,
None of our local engineers can do it, huh?
they have to be a structural engineer, which is different than just a regular engineer. Buster and I built over 3 houses. We started out with a 20-by-20 at the beach.
I wonder about what's them boys that do columns over there across city? I can think of their Megan, the ones that lifted your house. Yes, they ought to know somebody as much as they do.
There's 2 people that I know that live houses. That's him and a guy from.
You know he's got to know some structural engineers that can come through. Because I wonder, doesn't his stuff probably got to be certified?
That he used to use. And then, what's the guy's name here
That's a structural engineer now?
now? He did.
I don't know that.
Plans.
Now, this one
And they
says
did.
my columns are, And this concrete man is that. And he said he actually builds concrete houses. I'm thinking, he said, remember the igloo before you get to the beach?
Hard
That's
Houses.
That's a concrete house.
Mhm.
So I got a bunch of questions for him.
Hey, boys. What you doing? Good to see you. Is that all your notes on Ecclesiastes 5? On Ecclesiastes 5? You want to keep class tonight? Get Evan. Can I just read your notes? Yeah. There's some doozies of verses. I got plenty to say about Ecclesiastes. I'll save it for when we get started. Interesting chapter. Do you think that the tenure, the mood of the book has kind of in this chapter? 100%. All right. Well, I learned something on that. I found something on that. Bill knew it was for him. He put his
How's your farm manager's wife?
recovering. And she's gonna. It hurts when she still goes to the bathroom. It hurts. It used to hurt all the time, and now he says it's only at the very end. But it's kind of a give it another week kind of thing. But it's after all the carnage in there. I think that's going to be a long recovery. I think you probably take her off.
Billy's sister off. They got it all.
Very good.
We need to add Renee Hurd just because she's mean to me. Never, not one time. How you feeling back there? Eh?
They had over there, they're building another sidewalk. All the way.
Hey.
That's in me,
My father-in-law? Yeah, I can do that. He said he doesn't want to talk to you. He don't know you like
Send
him.
it anyway. I'm aggravated. Thank you.
He's got a fever, so he might be down a little bit.
Well,
He was good, and then grandma, and then Alicia and your mom a little bit better, and now your dad's got it.
Yeah, I mean, mom started up on, but now my dad's fever is like almost 101.
Oh, wow.
But he started on antibiotics yesterday, I believe, like last night.
Hey, just know that he does not have a smartphone. He's a flip phone guy, so technology and him are, yes. But just to have his, he'll answer if you call, and if not, the exact same number, but instead of a 1 at the end with a 2 is Rhonda's number. So if you can't ever get him, she'll usually answer for him. I just sent it, see if it goes through.
Just because it sounds. Maybe they would fix our road.
Oh, yeah, we took off there, had to go to 30.
They'll beat your tires to death. Still, it didn't used to be like that. Is that a new thing that they've done to it? They ain't maintaining it anymore. That's it. Nobody wants, that's it. Untouchable. Man, I could suck on one of them butterscotch things all day long. You're ruining me. I know you done gave me 2, 3. I think you gave me 3. My favorite. Yeah, I got 3. I'm good. I'm good. I'm gonna have to start giving you money to go buy the next bag for. I bet y'all go through a few bags of butterscotch. I'll give you some money. Are y'all Werther's people? Y'all like Werther's Originals? Y'all like Werther's candy? Especially the soft, chewy ones?
Start handing it out.
I'm telling you. Mm-hmm. Yes, peanut M&Ms. You haven't? Hey, you know what my mother-in-law's got? She calls it a people feeder. And so it's got a jar, like a mason jar, that you fill up, and then it's got the bowl that when you flip it over, and then but it's got little holes, so you can only grab, and she calls it a people feeder. She's got 2 of them. It at least slows you down from grabbing a whole handful at a time. Oh, yeah. Oh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I need one with a lock on it. I need one with a bear trap in it. I got a terrible story about chocolate M&Ms and somebody sucking the chocolate off of them and leaving. I can't tell that story in front of Holly. On what? Yes, that's it. And then sucking the chocolate off of, that's what I mean. And then leaving it. That's what it was. It was chocolate covered pecans or chocolate covered whatever it was. But yes. Yes. I told you that meme. I sing it probably once a day. You can't eat in everybody's house. You can't eat. There's a whole string of videos if you want to deep dive down and you don't want to see about why you can't eat at everybody's house. Can't do it. Huh? My friend called it. He texted me and he's like, man, because they were going. And I was like, man, good luck to you. Because I figured the way we lost to I had no hope. And he's like, man, we're gonna beat him. I was like, well, he had the time of his life watching that. I couldn't believe it. The entire game made 12 baskets. That's insane. Six total baskets. There are 7 baskets the entire first half. That's unheard of. And they were number 1, legit number 1. All right, y'all want to open to Ecclesiastes 5? We'll get rolling. Miss Janet said just keep him back there. She said you can have him. Y'all color coordinated, though. You got to keep him. Look at y'all cute matching. Green and beige, and he's got green and beige on his. Look at y'all. And then you got a bluish tint to your turtleneck, and he's got a blue. Look, y'all just like pick matching outfits. Get y'all out of a magazine. Yeah. All right. Bill is sick or not feeling well. He had one of his treatments the other day, but he's not feeling well. Lori texted me. My mother-in-law, I think, is a little better, but now G-Paul's running a fever, but he's already on antibiotics, and both of them are down. Who else texted me today? Wasn't Margie? I don't know. Kevin's back somewhat, 75%. Yeah. 10-4. Anything else or anyone else while we're thinking about it? Or Melissa is she already in a hospital? So if y'all, Miss Ruth, it's her daughter, and she's got possible kidney issues or kidney failure she's dealing with. So be mindful of Miss Ruth dealing with that, and Melissa. There's obviously additional complications with that, so be mindful of her. Anything else? I'm missing. What am I not thinking of? I feel like there's a big one right here in front of my face. I'm forgetting.
Nicole goes down for her next treatment, I think Tuesday
Okay.
of next week.
Mhm.
Mr. Eddie's doing great.
Mhm.
He's up there getting kids and.
I saw him sitting out there at the thing. All right. Any other praises you want to share? Anything you got going good?
I went to see about my shoulder the other day, and he's gonna try therapy instead of.
Surgery. Amen to that. I like therapy better than surgery.
Yeah. But my little pinky, in my therapy for this surgery, he said my ligament is jumping over. It hurts like.
Mm.
And I said, well, how do I make it jump back?
Did he have an answer?
He said, next, shoulder first.
Okay. All right. Nice weather. It's John Henry weather outside. Man, the guys at the farm sent me a picture about 6:45 this morning, and even Ocala, I'm talking hard frost. Hard frost. So that grass is burnt up. How about y'all's? Yeah, every bit of it. I don't have any green grass to sell. Man, how about that? 47? Isn't that what you're turning? So pretty close. I thought you and I graduated pretty close to each other. Huh? He's lying? Yeah, because I think he graduated with a couple other fellows in here that might be slightly older than 37. You're the same class as Bill and Kevin? And are you ahead of them or behind them? And y'all are 82. So y'all, yeah, okay. Aren't you pretty close to that mark? Throw you in there. All right. All right. Well, happy birthday, sir. Why don't you go to work for your birthday? That'd be good for you. Hey, and maybe you'll get good. Is it supposed to be cold again tomorrow? All right. Well, there you go. All right. 28 in the way. Well, Alicia's car said 24 this 29. Okay, never mind. Cold enough. Cold enough. Mark, can I pick on you to get us started with the word of prayer, and we'll jump into Ecclesiastes 5?
Let's all pray. Lord, we thank you for the day that you give us. Thank you for allowing us to come out once again and study your word. Lord, we just ask that you be with all the teachers this time, that they prepare their lessons, that you bring it to us in a way we can understand it and apply it to our life. Lord, we have a long prayer list that you know each and every one and their ailments and things that they need to restore their health. And we just ask that you be with all of them, be with all the caregivers, and restore their health. Be the hospital. Just ask that you go on through this hour of study with us. Pray all these things in Jesus' name.
Amen. All right, Ecclesiastes 5. If you read ahead, this chapter has a different tone. That's the word I was looking for, tone, than what we've been having before. And something I learned, I've been reading the last couple of days on, because I like to look at how books are broken down to kind of help me make sense of it and kind of figure out, they had a theme or whatever. And the thing I learned this week, how it kind of makes sense, is that he said 1 through 6 are kind of a package deal. And then it's almost like 7 through 12 would be like almost like a retelling of that. And I'm still digging on that to see if I buy that. But here's why that would make sense. Starting around chapter 10, the tone changes to remembering your creator. Well, that would make sense then, because starting in this chapter, like I said, everything, vanity, vanity, not even a whole lot of mention of God other than, a couple of blips on the radar. This is the good thing God has given us, but vanity, vanity. Well, starting in chapter 5, it's almost less, whining is not the word. the kind of negative look, and it's kind of now more like, let me give you some spiritual advice. Is almost now it's still got some teeth to it. Don't wait. If everything's vanity, vanity, empty, smoke, meaningless, whatever. Well, he's got some things with some charges that have some teeth to it. But to me, it's got a little bit different tone. Let's to start. Can we do 1 through 7? 1 through 7, chapter 5, 1 through 7. You feel like reading? What are you going to read from?
What do you want me to read from?
What do you have? Is it their easy reader?
I have that either.
Do that one because then I can compare it to what I got. I'm doing New King James in mine, but I'll compare. 1 through 7.
It says, be very careful when you go to worship God. It is better to listen to God than to give sacrifices like fools. Fools often do bad things and they don't even know it. Be careful when you make promises to God. Be careful about what you say to him. Don't let your feelings cause you to speak too soon. God is in heaven and you are on the earth. So you need to say only a few things to him. This saying is true. Bad dreams come from too many worries, and too many words come from the mouth of a fool. If you make a promise to God, keep your promise. Don't be slow to do what you promised. God is not happy with fools. Give God what you promised to give him. It is better to promise nothing than to promise something and not be able to do it. So don't let your words cause you to sin. Don't say to the priest, I didn't mean what I said. If you do this, God might be angry with your words and destroy everything you have worked for. You should not let your useless dreams and bragging bring you trouble. You should respect God.
I like that. There's some good comparisons to what I've got in mind as I was following along. Totally different tone. This is why I feel like even though he's saying emptiness or smoke or vanity or meaningless, that's all. It's with an italics of if you don't do it for God. And so after doing that kind of tone, now it's kind of like, so do it for God. Does that kind of make sense to you? And even the paying the vow. A couple things that jump out to me from the text. Depending on how your translation reads in verse 1, draw near to do what? What advice does he give in verse 1? What can we take for us from verse 1?
Here, listen
Listen.
before you speak.
Okay. Mine says, walk prudently. Does yours say be careful, Alicia? Yes. Be very careful. Walk prudently when you go to the house of God and draw near to hear. Come to listen rather than to give. Does pretty much everybody's translation have the sacrifice of fools or something close to that? Bill, you got anything? Because you got NLT.
He says it's evil to make mindless offerings to God.
Okay. I mean, like I said, that's something I can grab a hold of. Do more listening than you do talking. And Lisa, yours worded a little bit differently. For mine says, better do that than give sacrifice to fools, for they don't even know that it was evil. Yours said sometimes fools do it and they don't even know, they don't mean to, or something along that line. And a lot of what he has to say in 2 through 6 is what's an easy way to get yourself in trouble and be a fool? Run in your mouth. And that's why the first verse is draw near to hear rather than this. And then we're going to have some things about what we say with our mouth. My version in verse 2 says, don't be rash with your mouth. You have what's NLT got there in 2, Holly? New American Standard. Okay, and I do. I'm right with you on that.
Do not be quick with your mouth.
Quick.
Thoughts bring up the matter in the presence of God. For God is in heaven and you are on earth. Therefore, let your words be.
Did you say? Does yours have heart there? I'm sorry, because how did yours say right after about?
Do not be quick with your mouth or impulsive in your thoughts. Bring up a matter in the presence of God.
Impulsive in your thoughts. See, and mine's got, and not let your heart utter anything hastily. Why? What is the God's in heaven, you're on earth, so be careful with your mouth? What am I supposed to learn from that? Okay, I like that comparison. Okay, for sure. Yeah, he learns real quick about who's where and who's who.
Our Creator who created the earth, so there's just no comparison on earth to him.
So, authority of who he is, who we're coming before. So, there's some wisdom. There's some wisdom to being careful with that. And there's a couple of different times about let your words be few. And the multitude of words verse 7 is going to have. Don't overpromise. Now, I want to read some translation differences for 3, because yours made me think a little bit differently about verse 3, and then you've got New American Standard and you've got NLT, so we're going to compare. New King James in verse 3. A dream comes through much activity. A fool's voice is known by as many words. And so from the New King James, I kind of was leaning towards the message is, if you want to accomplish a dream, you know how you accomplish it? Not with your mouth, but with your activity. And a fool, you know what he's known by? Well, he's got all the plans in the world, but what does he actually do? That's kind of where I went, but that's not the tone yours took. What's let's start with NLT. Okay, all right.
Too much activity gives you restless dreams. Too many words make you a fool.
Now, that too many is going to marry very well with, where does it, that might come into the latter part of the chapter, around verse 13 and following, what you just said about having too many dreams. It's almost going to be like a balance. Now you're trying to do too much, and so you can't even get any rest, which is what we're going to get into around verse 13 and following. But a fool doesn't do anything. So that's an interesting, little bit different even than mine. New American Standard, out of curiosity, for 3. See, and that one leans more. I know Kevin's got New King James. Anybody got anything different than those 3 or 4? And read yours again, because yours was totally different to me. 3.
It says bad dreams come from too many worries, and too many words come from the mouth of evil.
All right, and like I said, that's going to marry very well with what we're going to talk about in a later chapter. So that is interesting. All right, but let me stay on task here, because we're going to get to that, because I have some thoughts about some of that, about what Solomon has to say here. Verse 4 and 5 probably is part of this chapter that you probably heard quoted maybe more than some of the rest of it. If you make a vow to God, what's the advice? You better do it. And then he says it's better to do what than what? Better to make no vow at all. And it's still in this vein of too many words and empty promises. At the end of the day, you shall know them by their fruit. Faith cometh by works. And you can say all the things you want. Hey, your neighbor comes, be warmed and be filled. Hope it works out for you. I'll pray for you. I'll do all these things. I'll do everything but go to my pantry and my refrigerator and get some groceries. I won't actually do any work. And yes, sir.
Sometimes you can really mean good things.
Intentions, yes.
Peter, when he said, "I'll make the tabernacle for you."
Yes.
And God said, honor my son. And then he also said, I won't deny you. I won't deny you. And so you can have the best intention. I myself.
We're there. What is that? What is that old adage about? Something, and it has an intentions and deeds. I got to get it worded right. The smallest good deed is better than the grandest of intentions. Y'all ever heard that kind of cliched phrase before? Do something. And here, especially if it's something I vowed to God, you better do it. So be careful. Don't be rash. Show up to hear rather than to have a lot to say. There's a balance. It's not like we can't all show up and be like monks in silence. But there's what the general wisdom here is just be mindful of who you're approaching. Don't let your mouth, this is verse 6 in mine, don't let your mouth cause your flesh to sin, nor say before the messenger of God that it was an error. Why should God be angry at your excuse and destroy the word you're in? The messenger of God, I know there's translation difference because I did a lot of reading on this one. Messenger is also translated how a lot of times, especially in your New Testament in the book of Hebrews. A messenger of God can also be an angel of God. Alicia's version, and this actually matches with some other things I read about, some versions even talk about a priest that you're appearing before. The Septuagint in this verse says before the face of God. nor say before the face of God. And then kind of goes on with it's still talking about making promises, lofty promises to someone that's above you, whether it's God himself, whether it's an angel, or whether it's a priest. It's just, it's a stronger way of saying be careful where you make your promises to. And your excuses. And then in verse 7, mine says, for in the multitude of dreams and many words, there's a lot of vanity. A lot of talk leads to a lot of smoke, is kind of what it is. You can have all the dreams, all the intentions, all the words. And then I love the New King James here at the very end of verse 7. So instead of all that, fear God. And that's very similar to when we get to 10, 11, and 12, where the conclusion is what? Fear God. So there's a lot of parallels there. Like I said, I'm going to do a little bit more digging on some of that, but I thought that was an interesting, like I said, the tone of this is totally different. We're going to get back into stuff not just being vanity if we'll give the honor to God that he deserves. All right. Any thoughts about that? More comments on that before we kind of move? Next section changes a little bit. It makes sense to me with where it's going to go, but we're going to start a little bit different starting in verse 8. But talking about you seeing the oppression of the poor, perversions of justice. It shouldn't shock you because my version, verse 8, says you got a high official that watches over another high official and higher officials are over them. And it's just kind of bureaucracy, government nonsense. Anybody here relate to that at all? The chain of command to get to this guy and they get to this guy and this guy. Now, one of the things I did grab as a really neat nugget, though, is verse 9. Moreover, the profit of the land is for all, even the king is served from the field. What does that mean to you?
It means that he gets his food right from the same place we do.
How does that relate to about officials and perversions of justice and whatever? There's some wisdom here for kings and leaders in this section. And so like if I, as the top tier, oppress the bottom tier, guess where my food comes from? It's a Wonderful Life when he's given Mr. Potter the what for, and he's like, all these people that you kind of see as smaller, they do most of the living and the working and the dying around here while you're sitting up here getting rich off of them. These are the ones that are making life happen and exist. And the least they ought to be able to do is do it in a decent home. It's kind of the, Jordan love that movie. Just throwing that. I loved that verse. The profit of the land is for who? It's for all of us. And even the king, guess where your food comes from? Labor of the ground in the field. It was just a neat little, even the highest subject is dependent upon the lowest. We all work together. Now, I think the point of those verses is to give humility to those who are in control. And then that follows nicely with the section that's going to come behind that. Let's read 10 through 17. 10 through 17. Feel like reading? You good? Okay.
He who loves silver will not be satisfied with silver, nor he who loves abundance with increase. This also is vanity. When goods increase, they increase who eat them. So what profit have the owners except to see them with their eyes? The sleep of a laboring man is sweet, whether he eats little or much, but the abundance of the rich will not permit him to sleep. There is a severe evil which I have seen under the sun. Riches kept for their owner to his hurt, but those riches perish through misfortune. When he begets a son, there is nothing in his hand. As he came from his mother's womb naked, shall he return. To go as he came, and he shall take nothing from his labor, which he may carry away in his hand. And this also is a severe evil. Just exactly as he came, so shall he go. And what profit has he who has labored for the wind? All his days he also eats in darkness, and he has much sorrow and sickness and anger.
Now there's a transition in 18 that we're not reading where we're going to get that repeated phrase we've already had 2 other times. Guess what's good? enjoy your work, enjoy your labor. So we'll get there. But just from the section 10 through follow, we've had similar to this already, right? We've had some similar thoughts, but there's a couple of nuanced things in here. If you love silver and gold, and that's what your life is all about, is gaining more of it, what's the message? You're never going to be satisfied. And I think Joe was giving some comments about like dealing with some wealthy people. And if that's the mentality of I've got to have more, those people are never going to be satisfied. If you love abundance with increase, you know what that's like grabbing a hold of? Smoke or the wind. Verse 11, when goods increase, they increase who eat them. So what profit have the owners except to see them with their eyes? What does that mean to you? And maybe you got a translation that's a little bit different.
I've got a note in here that says just to look at the leftovers.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not sure.
The way my verse reads is
Okay.
the more wealth people have, the more friends they have to help spend it.
Okay. All right. Reminds me of the prodigal son a little. And one of my notes is, and just tell me this, the more productive you are, the more successful you are, leads to more mouths to feed and more bills to pay. And my boss says, lots of money comes in, like as our business grows, like, and we've got, but then as your business grows and you tell me this ain't true, then that requires new workers, new equipment. And so more money flows in, but also means more money is flowing out. And I don't know if the wisdom is, I guess at just some point you just need to stand back and just watch it all coming and going and just be grateful it's hopefully coming almost as good as it's going. I just need it to be coming a little bit stronger than what it's going. And then, but that's kind of that's one of the things about if I'm just striving for abundance, all it is, and I think that's where the next verse goes. You get to the point of so much abundance, you can't even enjoy it because all you're worried about is keeping it up or losing it or it being stolen or it depreciating or buyer's remorse, right? The more you accumulate, the more stress you got. And I know a couple of guys in business like, you know what? How sweet was it when we just had one piece of equipment and this was a 1 or 2 man show? We weren't making nearly as much, but man, you know, but then you expect, I mean, I worked with a guy that did landscaping that way. I'm talking to John about, you see kind of like just you want your business to grow, but the more you grow, the more headache, the more stuff. And then this is why I've told my boss a couple, like I will take a 60% pay cut if I can just go sit on the tractor and that's all I got to do. Right. Because the stress and the man of this, the sleep of the laboring man is sweet because you know what he goes home and worries about? Not a lot. Hey, I'm going to get on the tractor. I've talked to one of our guys that ran a tractor all day to cut 130 pallets a day. And I was talking to him. He said, I got it all cut and I'm going to let it warm up a little bit. I got to fix a little bit, but he's going home and he's going to sleep good, right? Whether he eats little or much, it's a contentness. It's a mindset. But the abundance of the rich won't let him sleep. Anybody relate to that? So much wisdom to that. I was going to say, is this as much about amount as it is about attitude? It's the mentality of it. There are very successful, content people with abundance. The difference is the mindset, I'm not chasing abundance and making that my all, and then worry kind of encompasses. I love the New King James in 13. The evil that he sees is riches kept for their owner. And Kevin and I's translation says, kept to their hurt. To their hurt. New American Standard, what do you got in 13? Just out of curiosity to compare.
There's significant evil, which I have seen under the sun, wealth being hoarded by its owner.
Wealth being held by its owner?
Hoarded.
Hoarded. Ooh, that's a great word. NLT?
Hoarding riches harms the saver.
Hoarding riches harms the saver. Alicia?
It says there's a very sad thing that I have seen happen in this life. People save their money for their future or to their hurt.
Okay. What would it be? Is there anything, you think it's evil to save? In fact, the borrower is the lender's slave. There's a wisdom to taking care and being a good steward of your resources. So what does it mean to keep them to your hurt? I love the word that we've got. Hoarding is a great word. What's the problem here? How can you keep riches to your own hurt? Okay.
The richer can help the poor.
Mm-hmm.
He gets that on his own, he ain't doing no good with it.
Mm-hmm.
But if he gets out and helps the poor and the needy, then his riches is paying off for him.
What happens if you even goods and riches and silver? It talks about where moth and rust destroy. There's a balance. There's a balance, and I've sat in some elders meetings. And I know you could. There's a balance between the mentality of we need to take our resources and use them, right? What to have millions of dollars in a bank, sitting in a bank for a rainy day because we're worried.
You got to worry about somebody taking it.
How about just even being called into?
You got a lack of faith if you do that.
Yeah, I mean, but then the balance is so, and we've sat in some other, not just that church, but other churches where you're trying to figure out what to do and find that happy medium of it's good stewardship to prepare for the future, but where's the balance between that and then the word that you've got, hoarding? And now we've been blessed with funds and hard work funds given, and we're not using to even help our own people, let alone, and it's a balance. There's a balance between saving and good stewardship and then storing it up to your own hurt.
Like the parable of the man that tore down his barns to build bigger barns.
That's right.
Then all his confidence and faith was in himself and what he had accomplished, and he. Nobody else.
I didn't need anybody else because look how I can take care of my own self. Yeah. So, and that's what I said. I know there's some of the stuff that he's maybe talking about as a king and is beyond me. And I'm not, any of us ever going to have Solomon's wealth? Most likely not. But lessons we can learn. And we're not even talking about money, talent, time and opportunity. Don't store it up to your own hurt, because at the end of the day, what 14 and following says is how much of it are you going to take with you? And he calls it an evil. And evil's a strong word. I think it's italics or asterisks if it's spent on vanity. I mean, I think of like Paul's statement of I would rather spend and be spent for your sakes. You know what I mean? I'll take all my time, talent, treasure, and if I'm worn out and I get to the end of my life with a zero balance because I've spent it in service to others, you know what? Life well lived. No regrets. You know what I mean? But if you make it all about saving stuff, how much do you take with you? There's a joke. I know it's an anecdotal joke y'all have heard about the man that's just adamant that he's taking all of his wealth with him. Just absolutely adamant and just get in the will, whatever. And then he passes away and his wife says, well, I put it in a check. Yeah, exactly. But all right. And so just 16, and tell me we don't go back to the garden here. Just exactly as he came, he shall go. From dust we are born, to dust we shall return, right? That's Job in there as well. Naked I came from my mother's womb, naked I'll return. Blessed be the name of the Lord, right? That's very, very similar to that mentality. And what profit, and this, I think there's a nuance here of the end of 16 in the New King James. What profit has he who has labored for the wind? And I think that's the nuance. That's if you're laboring for the wind and not laboring with a God glorifying mentality. If you're just striving for the wind, well, guess what you're going to catch? Nothing. The wind, emptiness, smoke. That's what you get. And so we end similar to what we've had before, 18 through the end of the chapter. Bill, you want to read 18 through the end?
Even so, I have noticed one thing, at least, that is good. It's good for people to eat, drink, and enjoy their work under the sun during the short life God has given them, and to accept their lot in life. And it's a good thing to receive wealth from God and good health to enjoy it. To enjoy your work and accept your lot in life. This is indeed a gift from God. God keeps such people so busy enjoying life that they take no time to brood over the past.
That 20 is an interest. I love it. You get any power out of this, dude? Does that give you all a different mentality of going to work tomorrow, those of us that aren't retired? I love rubbing that in. By the way, we got a new one, and I meant to announce it Sunday, and I got sidetracked, but like we rejoice for those who rejoice, but Marty worked his last day. I'm proud for him. Him reaching a milestone of retirement. And like, good for y'all. Good for y'all. What does he say about good? It's fitting. It's good and fitting to eat and drink and enjoy the good of your labor. And who gave that gift to you? Work is a gift. Work is a gift. In fact, 20 speaks to the gift that work is. Mine says in verse 20, he will not dwell unduly on the days of his life, for God keeps him busy with the joy of his heart. Yours was slight. What's New American Standard got there? 20.
He will often call to mind the years of his life, because God keeps him busy with the joy of his heart.
I'm going to ask you what you think joy of his heart. Alicia, what do you got in 20 there?
All right, I'm gonna read that, then I guess I'll read the little excerpt that doesn't make sense to me though. People don't have many years to live, so they must remember these things all their life. God will keep them busy with the work they love to do. And then it says that the to-do part could also be God will do whatever he wants to them.
Okay, yeah, that one I don't understand much either. The whole context is verse 19, God has given riches and wealth and power to eat of it, to receive his heritage, to rejoice in his labor. That's a gift of God. And this, I'm telling you, this is a mentality that the joy and satisfaction of a job well done in a hard day's work. There is a joy that you and it doesn't even have to be for profit sometimes. Just running your chainsaw in your yard, and though your muscles are a little sore, but there is a satisfaction to that. Is there not? A yard cut, brought into order, you know what I mean? There's a joy to that.
Same thing, a little different. Just like as a married couple, it can be for the individual, but setting a goal. We're gonna build this house.
Mm-hmm.
And when you finally reach that goal.
That's right.
Or even the day you pay it off, it's so satisfying.
That's it.
To have those kind of goals and work for them and then accomplish.
I think there's a goal and satisfaction of saying, hey, I'm going to work 25 to 30 years at this job, and you put in that time. Was there any joy walking out? I know that there's part of you miss being in that school, but I don't know how many years you spent in there, but it was a bunch. Is there not a satisfaction of my time well spent? You know, that's the, and so my question was going to be, so what's the joy of your heart that keeps you busy? What do you think he's referencing there? Is it I think I'm leaning towards it's the work itself, whatever that work might be.
She'll see kids for the rest of her life that she influenced that are prospering and doing well. There'll be some that don't, but she'll get rewarded every time she sees them on the street.
Amen. Amen. Yes, sir, Mr. Vince?
And some of the women love fixing up their house and their garden, and they maybe make food that people eat and enjoy, and that brings them.
Is there any satisfaction to that? A meal well made, when the cake comes out right, when the batter goes on the way it's supposed to, and then knowing the joy you bring others to share that with them. Slide that in there. Did y'all catch that subtle? But seriously, like that I think that's so if I'm taking advice from Solomon tonight, whatever the joy of your heart is, he says that's going to keep you busy. So you're not thinking about the stress of, because I can either look at it, the monotony of every day and swinging that axe so many times, or punching that clock, or answering that stupid cell phone one more time. I mean, you can look at it that way, or you can look at it as hard work that enables me. God has enabled me to provide for my family, provide food to eat and drink, and the power to enjoy it, and say, thank you, Lord, for something to do today. And I'm sitting this in here. Every mundane thing we do can be done for the glory of God. I see a lot of garden in this. I see a lot of garden, and I will remind you, was there work before sin? Was work punishment? What was the punishment? The work, huh? It's the thorns and the thistles and the hurricanes and the earthquakes, and it had to be mosquitoes. I cannot believe there was a mosquito prior to sin. You know what I mean? It's not, the work was there. It's tending to the garden, keeping it. There was a joy and satisfaction. You guys that have had success in growing things and cultivating things. And when God causes the rain to come and then now you have that to eat and enjoy and fill yourself with. That's garden stuff. That's gift of God. I think that's a little part of us about bringing. I love that you brought in the gardens and the home and the house and all of that in there.
After sin comes, it's more labor to keep that garden on a perfect plan. If you had the briars and thistles.
That's right.
Some of that, you had to fight that, keep it out there. That was all the sin. But to just get out there and work and enjoy what you do.
And enjoy God's creation. You don't think that's part of it? Especially you that get it, those of you that are blessed to work in ag. But even in the mill, that tree that's coming in here is the fruit of the ground that we're processing to make this. I mean, it's all harvesting God's creation, providing jobs so we can provide for our families, provide for the church, provide blessings for, I mean, it's all, that's what my vision has got to be about. I can go to work mundane. And think about New Testament here, Ephesians 5 and 6 and Galatians, other places, slaves and masters. I can go and I can work for my boss as if I'm working for the Lord, and I can go to that job with the mindset of glorifying God, or I can go to that job chasing the wind. It's my choice. I'm going to choose or do the best I can. It's not going to be every day, but as many days as I can, not dwell on unduly days of the passing of days, because I'm too busy, the joy of my heart and the working for it.
And see, the opposite of that, lazy, they don't feel good about themselves because they didn't accomplish.
That's it.
And that, a lot of the suicides are associated with that. It's interesting to me, like the advice that doctors give when you're dealing with depression. And like simple things like find a small task you can accomplish. Take a shower. Go for a walk. Get some kind of exercise. Find some little something that you can cross off. If it's literally picking up one thing or one room or what, it's to me, it's feeding that joy of accomplishment and work and finding some small satisfaction in it that maybe it's a little bit better tomorrow and a little bit better the next day. And progressively we get better with activity. And see, most parents teach their kids how to work. When you're not taught to do anything and just, you feel like you're not worth anything.
All right. It's a gift of God. I know that. It don't feel like it every day, does it, John? But work is a gift of God. It is a gift of God. I'm going to stop there. I think we're pretty much done our time. Any other kind of closing thoughts or comments before we wrap up chapter 5 here? Grandma texted me this while we were studying. She said, similar to your comment, Alicia, she said, success is relative. The more success, the more relatives. Win the lottery and find out how big your family is, right? That's right.